Hey everyone, welcome. I am streaming live on YouTube and Instagram. Gonna wait for everyone to join before we start with the announcement that I have for you all, some exciting news. If you are watching the replay, you can always email me with any questions that you have about this. I'll have some details in the description box below the YouTube video. And if you're watching the replay on Instagram, you can always just send me a DM. The keyword for that is right up below if you want to know any more details about what I'm going to talk about here today. Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining. It's getting so dark in my office right now with the time change. I'm glad everyone could join. I hope everyone's getting off work now. If you're on Eastern time, it's about 5:30 here. So I was trying to do this when everyone could join. Awesome. Leave any of your questions. You can go ahead and drop them in the comments. It can be any type of question. If you need any curl help, leave those in the comments. I have the stream up right here where I can see all the questions, so I'll be answering those. First, going to start with the announcement and the news, and then we will get into the questions. I'll also talk about what I have in my hair right now, for those of you who want to know that. Just going to wait for a couple more to join. How's everyone's week been so far? I feel like it's been a really long week, but exciting over here with the launch of what I'm going to talk about. But I'm definitely glad that it's Friday. Hey, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Let's go ahead and get started. So I'm first going to start off, like I mentioned, with an exciting announcement, and that is that I am launching a 6-week group coaching program, which starts today. Everything is open now for enrollment. If you are interested in learning more about it, I'm going to talk a little bit about what the program entails. You can leave any questions that you have about the group coaching program in the comments, and I will be sure to get to those. But we're also going to do Q&A here as well, just for regular curl questions. So definitely we'll be talking all things curly. But the group coaching program, I'm so excited to announce. As you all probably know, I've been doing one-on-one coaching for quite a while now, a couple months, and I've already coached hundreds of people. It's been so nice getting to talk with all of you, and I've learned a ton about curly hair. I probably am going to revisit one-on-one coaching into the new year, but starting in January, I'm going to be doing group coaching where I have the chance to meet with much more of you in a group coaching setting. So this is going to involve ongoing curl support from me over a 6-week span. So in doing the one-on-one sessions that I was doing before, I really learned that everyone needs that ongoing curl support. It can be difficult to cover everything in one session, and sometimes it can be information overload when you do one coaching session with me and you just learn all of the things. It can be really difficult to absorb all of that. And I also found that people needed that ongoing support. So they would have a good baseline to get started after the first call, but then they would do more testing afterward. They would need some more help from me. And there was a lot of follow-up involved there, and they needed extra help, so they wanted follow-up calls. So that's how I got the idea for the ongoing program. And I went with 6 weeks because that's about how long it takes to see a difference in your curls, especially for someone who has damaged hair. You can start to see some differences in your curls after about that much time, and that gives you quite a few wash days to test. Even if you don't have damaged hair and you've been taking care of your curls for a while and you're just newer to styling, or you're really trying to solve some problems, it does take about that many wash days, if you wash maybe twice a week or so, to start to see a difference, which is why I settled on the 6-week program. But the ongoing support through weekly live coaching calls is going to be so beneficial, because you will be able to learn from me, ask me questions, go and test in your next wash day, then come back and report with how it went. So the program involves weekly live coaching calls with me. So it'll be live on Zoom where I can see you, I can see your curls, you can ask me questions. And in the group setting, you learn so much from other people. So you'll get to learn about other hair types as well. You can learn about other problems. If you're in a group with people with different hair types, you can learn what to not do. Someone might ask a question in a different way that you might not have even thought of before, but it's something you're struggling with as well. So it's just so beneficial. I've done some group programs myself too, and I've really fallen in love with that format because it's just so valuable. So that's why I wanted to do this. Also, along with the group coaching program, there is a membership portal. So I'm really excited about this. I've spent some time this week setting it up. There's some live trainings that are already ready to go in that membership portal. So when you sign up for the program, you get instant access to that. So you can go ahead and watch those. So Enrollment is open now for that. So if you sign up, you get direct access into that portal to where you can go in and start watching some of those trainings. Then the live calls are going to start mid-January. So currently I have it set to about January 16th, I think, for the first call. And that's a Thursday. I'm going to alternate between a weekday and a weekend session. That way everyone can make it. And if anyone can't make a live call, they are going to be recorded. So that way you can watch the replay. And then if there's questions in between live calls, you will be able to submit those in that portal. So it's a community portal. You can connect with other members in there. You can post to the feed. There's a group chat in there, which is really fun. And then there's also some lessons already ready to go. And you get a free curly hair tracker and planner too, which is my spreadsheet template that allows you to kind of track what you're doing with your curls and analyze your results. So a bunch of resources packed into this 6-week program. So sort of think of it like a 6-week course meets live coaching, which I really wanted to do sort of a hybrid like that, because I don't know about you all, but if I were to sign up for just a 6-week course that's self-guided, I would probably put it off. I would barely do it. Like if I had to learn on my own, I would probably never make the time for it. So having live calls is really going to be beneficial. And then you also have some resources to watch as well. So I really like the hybrid model. I think you'll learn the best in that format versus just doing a curl course where you have to do all of your homework by yourself. So what questions so far do you have about it? That's just the basics of what is included in it. So it's 6 weeks of coaching from me. So you get direct access to me during that 6-week time, plus the weekly live calls and other things that are involved in the membership portal as well, like those lessons. So leave your questions in the comments. Thank you. Everyone's talking about my hair today. I feel like it looks thicker because it's darker in here. It's not as bright behind me, so it's not quite as see-through, but it's also the products that I have into, which I'll share that in just a moment. So leave any questions that you have about the group coaching program. If you do want to chat with me about it, just to learn more, if you have questions, I have a message pinned here up at the top. You can just send me a DM with that keyword, or you can email me and we can talk about it. So I'll definitely chat with you about if it's a good fit or not. Awesome. So some other things about the program, some of the common questions that I've gotten so far in chatting with all of you is that people are asking, how long are the calls? I'm going to do probably about an hour. I'll start with a lesson in the first 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll get into Q&A where you can ask me questions and get all of your curl questions answered, and we'll spend time with each other to actually diagnose your curl problem. So you will still get that time with talking to me, and I'll probably go over too if there's more questions. So I'll make sure that I get everything answered. I've also gotten some questions about what the call schedule is. So currently I have it alternating between a weekday and a weekend, but I'm going to wait and release the exact schedule as we get closer to mid-January, because I want to make sure that everyone is able to join, so that way you can RSVP to the ones that you can make it for. Some other questions that I've gotten is, do you have to be on camera? So you don't have to for the live calls, although it is helpful if I can actually see your curls, but you could definitely still join camera off if that's what you're comfortable with. You'll just have to describe to me what you are talking about with your curls, but it is really helpful to be able to see you and talk to you. That way I can see what's going on with your curls. Hi, Karen. Hey, Patty. Thank you, Jennifer. No, so Jennifer asked if the program requires you to change your routine or purchase new products. So I've gotten this question too a lot with my one-on-one coaching that I was doing the last couple of months. A lot of times I work with the products that you all already have. So in the intake form for the other appointments that I was doing, I ask you what products that you own, and that's because I want to try and use what you have, unless if there's something that I think could be a better alternative, or if we determine that one product is the problem for what you're experiencing, then we'll need to swap it out. But a lot of times you guys have so many products that you didn't even know how to use, or maybe you didn't know was right for you. So sometimes even in coaching calls, I have clients running to their cupboards and pulling out something from the back that they had forgotten about, because I'll ask you questions like, tell me about what other gels you have, or do you have any other deep conditioners that you could use here? So I always try and work with the products that you have. And you don't have to change your whole routine. I would say the only time there's usually like a full routine being built out is for a beginner. So maybe someone who doesn't really have any products, or maybe they just have straight hair products. If they previously straightened your hair, that's really the only times where we've had to kind of start from scratch. But for the most part, you guys have products we can work with. Awesome. What other questions about the group program? Any hesitations? Anything that I can help kind of clear up for you all about how it works? If I didn't already mention, you can enroll now and get direct access to some of those lessons that are already in there, just to kind of get you started for the next 2 weeks. And then in January is when the live calls start. So that's when you'll get to actually meet with me live to get your questions answered. But in the meantime, you can definitely still submit questions. As a member, you'll get direct access to me to where I can help you all the time. And so there's places in that membership portal to submit questions, or you can just DM me. Awesome. I'm also offering an early bird rate. So that's also why I wanted to go ahead and open enrollment now. So through the end of December is when you can sign up for a cheaper rate. So those of you who want to get in early, now is your chance to do so. So it's going to be going up starting in January, but for December through December 31st is when you can save on that discounted rate. And per session, it comes out to about $49 per session, which is less than doing a one-on-one session, where for private coaching, it's obviously much more, but in the group setting, it's discounted quite a bit. So it comes out to about $49 per session. It's a one-time payment of $297 for the early bird rate. So you just pay once versus like a weekly type of membership. And it's about $49 a call. So that's for 6 coaching calls, plus the full membership portal as well, and that access to me for 6 weeks. So if you want more details on that, if you want to see the plan and all of that, there's instructions right there in that pinned message about how to reach out. All right, so if there's not any more questions about the announcement in the group coaching program, we can get into regular Q&A. So if you have any particular questions about curly hair, definitely drop them in the comments. I'm just going to scroll up to the top to start to get to some of the initial questions. And then I have some pre-submitted ones to go through as well. So go ahead and drop your curl questions in the comments, and you can kind of get an idea of how it will go in those group live coaching calls, except for there, you'll be able to be on camera so I can actually see your curls. One of you is saying that you're currently styling your hair. Speaking of styling your hair on a group coaching call, I am going to be doing some live demos like that. So I thought about one of the lessons being me actually styling my curls or brush styling. So we could do one session specifically dedicated to brush styling, because that's always everyone's challenges. So I would be doing my hair live on the call, and then you could stop me and ask me questions about what I'm doing, or you could be doing it along with me. That would be fun to be styling together. So I'll definitely plan some of those sessions where we can live style together. And that is so helpful for people, where if I can actually see what you're doing, then it can really make a difference, because I could maybe spot tweaks that you can make, some adjustments you can make. Even if it's something as simple as changing the angle of your brush, can make a big difference. Speaking of that, I actually did a live styling session with one of my private coaching clients. I'm probably going to be offering those later into next year, but we styled together on the call and I walked her through exactly what to do, which was really fun to be able to see how people style. And it's funny how different it turned out with a guided styling session. So we'll be sure to work on some of that in the group program as well. Some people were also asking too about if it's just for a beginner to take you from start to finish, or if anyone can join at any skill level. I'm going to make sure that I cover all different areas. So that's why I pre-recorded some of the beginner lessons. That way anyone can go ahead and start with those. So those are already in the platform. And then for the live sessions, we will start a little bit from the beginning of a wash day routine. So the first few lessons will be about something like rotating your wash days. Then we'll get into damage repair for one session, but it's still going to apply to everyone. So even though I am doing sort of start to finish for each weekly call, there'll be stuff in there for not only beginners, but also more advanced. So that way it can still apply to everyone. And for all of my instruction, I always simplify it anyways. That way a beginner could follow it as well. Yes, I would love to do some brush styling live on camera. That would be fun. If there's any other ideas that you all have too of what we could do live together on camera. Another one I thought about was diffusing. That's another one where you don't really realize some tweaks or mistakes that someone might be making until you watch them do it. So I could diffuse on camera with you, with a mic so you can actually hear me. Or some of you could be diffusing and then we could kind of talk through, adjustments to make, changing the angle of your dryer, maybe changing how quickly you're moving around, things like that. All right, so if there's no more questions about the group program, I will get into the regular curl questions. Okay, so there was one question about having fuzzy hair. So it says, I have curly hair, but it's so fuzzy and I can't use products. Products are really the only way to fully tame frizz. So it's difficult for our hair to not be defined and tamed without any products. I mean, you can use regular shampoo and conditioner, but that's more for your scalp health and the health of your curls and to keep your hair clean and moisturized. Some moisture will tame frizz in terms of preventing dryness, but in terms of just regular frizz, that needs to be tamed with something to actually hold it. So you do need styling products in order to tame frizz. If I just went from rinsing out my conditioner to air drying product free, my hair would not be defined at all and it would be very frizzy. It wouldn't have a lot of definition because it does need that help. If you were someone that can get great results without doing any styling, that's amazing. But a lot of us do need products in order to improve the appearance of our curls if that is something that you want, so more definition. Somebody had asked if I feel like my hair shedding has lessened. I don't know, I always feel like shedding is really bad, but I do feel like my density has improved over the last year or so. A lot of that just has to do with correcting nutrient deficiencies, and that just takes a really long time to fully grow out. So if you did experience any type of illness or nutrient deficiency or anything internal, which that's the majority of the time what hair loss is from, it takes so long for that hair to fully grow in. So that's why it takes a couple of years for your hair to get back to normal, unless your hair grows really fast, but mine doesn't. And so I do still have some of that thinner area on my ends, but that's just the nature of lower density hair. So some of that is just my hair, but it's definitely gotten a lot thicker. And right now, like I was saying in the beginning, it looks a lot thicker compared to other content because it's darker in here. There's not a lot of light behind me because it's dark outside now. It's funny how much lighting makes a big difference. There's also a question about the AG liquid effects if it contains silicone. So yes, it does have one silicone. I believe it's a water-soluble silicone though. It's not full of them, but there is one in there. Just check the ingredients label. Pretty sure it's a water-soluble one. I would just try and not get it on your scalp, which I know is difficult, but avoid any techniques like plopping or scrunching really close to the root because all of that can press product into your scalp. And instead lean to the side when you're scrunching to make sure that you're not pushing the product into your scalp with wet hair. Jennifer asked about her hair getting tangled every day. How do you refresh and get the tangles out without getting it fully wet? So this is something that I actually was just helping a coaching client with the other day. And it turns out that it really came back to how she was styling on wash day. She had a styling technique that involved just a messier look, not a bad look by any means, but less of an organized way of styling. She wasn't sectioning, she wasn't doing any brush styling. It was much more of just raking in product and going, which is totally fine. And that's a quicker routine. A lot of times you get more volume with that, but it was contributing to a lot of tangles because she wasn't getting her hair fully smoothed out on wash day. It was a very tight curl pattern. And so when she was applying products, it wasn't quite smoothing out the hair enough. And so we worked to adjust her styling techniques on wash day, and that already made a difference in terms of the amount of tangles on next day hair. So if you can get your hair good and smoothed out with sectioning, brush styling, if you can, that's a great way to smooth out the hair. That way it's not quite as tangly the next day. But if you're already doing all of that and you're still having a lot of tangles, definitely look into the way that you're protecting your curls overnight. And then it's also difficult in the winter time because our coats and jackets and scarves and things rub against our hair, and that often causes tangles underneath. And so if you do get those, try just using some oil to gently detangle underneath before you refresh. So a lot of times I'll do that first versus fully wetting my hair down, because sometimes when you wet your hair, it makes it even worse to where the hair gets like Velcro feeling, especially when it has product in it from wash day. And especially if you have gel in it from wash day or any type of volumizing products. So apply a little bit of oil to dry hands and dry hair, and then just gradually work through them. If they are underneath or even on top, you could do that as well. And a lot of times it's just the loose hairs that are kind of tangling things up. So you can gently remove those and then refresh if you need to after, but you might be surprised that you can just do a light refresh with a little bit of oil and not even have to wet your hair if it's just really about the tangles. Shay had asked about her curls falling out the next day since the weather is getting colder. I'm using the same products and routines that I always do, is something I can add in to keep my curls defined longer. So definitely dry weather can cause this. I'm not sure if you're already using some sort of leave-in conditioner or curl cream underneath, but that's one of the main adjustments that I make to my routines in the fall and winter when it's just a little bit lower humidity here. So for my last wash day, I actually used a curl cream and a gel versus just using a gel, which is normally what I do to try and get maximum hold and humidity protection. But when it's colder outside, I definitely like using a curl cream or a leave-in underneath, not both, because that would be too much moisture. Another thing you can do is use a little bit of oil to help trap in some moisture. Sometimes oils can soften it too much though, to where you don't get as much long-lasting hold. So maybe if you're already using an oil, try not using an oil. That would be something to tweak. But a lot of times it is just from dryness with that lack of humidity in the air. And so you do have to use products that help to lock in moisture, which would be your curl creams, leave-ins, maybe using a finishing oil, and maybe even change out your gel. If your curls are not lasting in any type of weather, most of the time it has to do with the gel not quite being right for your curls. See if there's any questions that I missed over on the Instagram side. If anyone is just joining and missed the initial announcement, I am launching a group coaching program where you get access to coaching from me over a 6-week span. So that way we can really refine your results, tweak your results. You can go and test what we talk about and then come back and report of how it went. So it's going to be live coaching calls. So similar to this, but even better, because it'll be live in a video call to where I can see you, we can talk, and I can actually spend some time with you versus me just answering a question like this blindly. I'll actually get to ask you questions back and really get to the bottom of your curl problems. So if you want more info on that, we can chat about it. There is a pinned message right up here at the top on how to reach out about that. Somebody had asked about the Shea Moisture Curl Enhancing Smoothie. So that's actually just a curl cream. So that's not going to give any hold or really tame frizz. It really just gives moisture. It can help kind of clump the curls, but it's really a gel that's going to hold the curls. Curl creams just moisturize the hair. They can't really tame frizz. And so that's what I was talking about earlier with just using like shampoo and conditioner. You really need a styling product like a gel, which helps to bind the curls together, hold the clumps together, and tame that frizz, because it provides a protective barrier on the hair that creams cannot do. So you really need a gel in your routine. Other questions do you all have? There were some pre-submitted ones too that I wanted to make sure that I get to, and then we will wrap up here because I didn't want to go too long with you all. Holly had submitted a question about her having chin length curly bob. She said it's flat on the top and it drives her nuts. I talk to my clients about this all the time. So in coaching sessions, I usually will show how you can style for a little bit more root lift. It really comes down to styling techniques and how you're applying your products and diffusing. That's a huge one, because you can do all the best styling techniques for volume, But if you air dry or if you don't diffuse properly, it's just going to dry more flattened against your scalp. So just think of everything you can possibly do from start to finish to lift the hair up and away from the scalp. So that comes from brush styling. I mean, you can do that with your hands too, but a brush really does grab the hair better at the root and kind of lift. So there's different brush styling techniques. I actually shared them in the video on my YouTube channel that went live last Sunday. It's all about brush styling for beginners, and I share some ways to really get more root lift with your brush. So that can help. Also using products that provide texture and grit. So this coming Sunday's video is all about my favorite volumizing products. So there's going to be about 6 or 7 different products in there to pick from in different formats that can help give you more volume. So definitely check that out. And then when it comes to diffusing, make sure you're using a diffuser that has prongs that are long enough to actually reach down into your scalp and not disturb your curls too much. So longer prongs will be able to go into the hair like this. And then when you lift and hold, it will actually set and dry the hair away from the scalp. So air drying just results in a more elongated look. And I find that diffusing upright with the prongs dries the hair with much more volume compared to just upside down. I don't know what it is, but definitely try that if you're not already, and make sure your diffuser has those prongs that are long enough, not those diffusers like the silicone ones where the prongs aren't very long and it's just like a flat design on the top. That's not really going to help you much with the root volume. Another pre-submitted question is what I think about the Kerastase line. So I've never tried it, but I've actually heard from quite a few coaching clients that they're using it. So I've been interested in trying it out. It's funny, after reading through so many intake forms from clients and hearing about all the products that you all are using, I've even gotten some recommendations for myself of some things to try. And Kerastase is always on there too. So it's on my list to buy, to try out, because I know a lot of you are using it and might want to learn more about how to use it. Another pre-submitted question was a clarifying shampoo for gray hairs. So you can really use any clarifying shampoo. It doesn't have to specifically be for gray hair. I would just make sure you go with one that's sulfate-free. So one that I really like is the Ouidad Waterworks. I talk about that one a lot because I know it's color safe, it's gentle, it's not too harsh on the hair, and it removes hard water minerals. So when it comes to gray hair, it can get discolored with chlorine and other minerals in the hair. So maybe that Ouidad one would be a good option if you haven't already tried it, because it specifically removes that. So it would prevent it from looking dull or getting discolored. Another question was if I could make another video about stringy curls. I can definitely do that. So stringy curls is something that I struggle with a lot, and I have a lot of tips for. I've done lots of videos on it, but I need to make some more updated ones for sure. So that was the pre-submitted questions. I'm just going to check here. If anyone has any other questions, let me know. There was a question about the high definition curl enhancer styling gel. I'm assuming you're talking about the Trelux one. So that's more of a light hold gel for me. Some people get stronger hold with it, but for me, it gives me light hold. Like I get a cast, but when I scrunch it out, it's definitely frizzier. So it's more of a soft hold gel. That's something I can use more in the fall and winter when it's not really humid, or I need to top it off with a stronger hold gel. So it's not typically one that I reach for much now because I like stronger hold gels now. I used to use it much more before, but now I've found other gels that give me longer lasting results. So it's not always one that I reach for or recommend, only because I know a lot of people are like me and do struggle with their curls not lasting. And so I don't want to have to tell you you're going to need another gel on top. You might as well just use a stronger hold gel. But if you're someone who likes a lighter hold, or if you have very healthy, low porosity hair that's not super frizzy, that gel will probably work great for you because it has a lot of ingredients that are good for dry climates, lower porosity hair. And I know some people love it that do have lower porosity hair. It just doesn't work the best for me as much now, but I used to use it a lot. All right, so I think that's the majority of the questions. Again, if you didn't catch the initial news, check out the pinned message right there if you want to message me to find out more about my new group coaching program where I can help you with your curls over a 6-week span so we can really make a difference in your hair and you can learn so much more about your hair. Hopefully I can get you to where you don't even need my help anymore and you can diagnose and solve your curl problems all on your own. So it's open to everyone. Just message me if you want details about how to join. That early bird pricing does expire on December 31st. So if you are interested, now is the time to be able to get that rate, because it will be going up starting in January, and I want you all to be able to get in at that early rate, and you will be locked in at that rate. So let me know if you want more info on it. Check out that pinned message for details on how to get that. And I will talk to you all very soon. Thank you so much for joining me. Stay tuned for Sunday's video if you want some volumizing products, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye, everyone.